All right, let's get this show going. As we usually do in these AMAs, I'm gonna start reading a little bit, letting you know how is the market currently. The fear and greed index is at 74, so there's a lot of greedy people out there. This morning, at least for me, early this morning, Ethereum it touched the 3K mark. So ETH at 3K, we haven't seen that since I don't know what was that, 2020, the beginning of 2023, if I'm not mistaken. There is on the 1 hour charts, all the top 10 are down a little bit. So, but most of them are up in the 7 days. So that's good to see. Overall, we have bullish sentiment for crypto, and that's what keeps us active, keeps us going for the yield, going for um, the strategies that are going to make us money. So, welcome everyone with this little introduction. More people are going to join soon. Just posted this on our Discord. Welcome to our Alpha Lounge. Today we have a new guest. We have the WeavingWeb3. Feel free to introduce yourself as well, so people can kind of get a little bit more of an understanding.
So, hi everyone. My name is Stash. I'm one of the founders of Weaving Web3 podcast. So, our podcast, as it says, it's all about Web3, crypto, DeFi. We kind of started just over a year ago. We celebrated our birthday. We met. Krakalakas is one of the co-founders as well. I see he's just joined. But first of all, we just started as just some degens, and people didn't really have many friends in crypto. So we first started chatting shit about crypto. And then we were like, hang on a second, we can take this more seriously. We bought equipment and we started interviewing founders at conferences. And because of that, we were basically getting free tickets because we were doing media for people. So we were like, oh, wow, this is actually really fun. And we've been able to connect with many different projects and people. So, yeah. And about myself, I'm just finishing my PhD right now. And I'm a true degen at heart. So I've been in the crypto space for over 4 years. I also have my own, let's say, airdrop crypto alpha community. So if anyone's interested later on, I can post a link to that where basically we help educate people within the crypto space, beta testing, and because of this podcast, meeting founders and stuff, we sometimes get exclusive alpha that we can share with people. So yeah, it's been a long, fun journey exploring the crypto space for the last few years. So yeah, if anyone needs anything, any expertise, like I always have someone that in Web3 that could potentially help you out.
Awesome stuff. So, welcome also Crypto Goblin and Crackalakas for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you guys here. Yeah, having a bunch of friends that decides to create together is always the best formula, in my opinion, because there's the friendship that unites, and also the wanting to create something together that is not just financially moved. So, good job, guys. I believe we'll be hearing more from you in the next birthday. So, very very nice. Let's get it started. We already had an introduction. Oh, first of all, I'm Everton. I'm the marketing guy here at Archimedes. Oz, the CEO, is not going to be able to join us today. He's sick, a little bit under the weather, so it's just going to be me. We have Agaphone here as well, our awesome mod from our Discord. So yeah, let's start a little bit with a few of the topics that we have separated for today. Do you want to start? Do you have anything you want to cover first?
Yeah, of course. So my biggest problem that I have in DeFi right now and in the whole crypto space is the oversaturation of copy and paste products with zero innovation. And like, why do we need another perp dex? Why do we need another leverage this and that when basically we have some already decent products that are already available? And then when you talk to certain people, some people call me the Karen of the conference because I will go to a booth and be like, what's your innovation? Why are you using delta neutral strategies or whatever? And they're like, oh, we don't know. And straight away, that's tells me like you're not actually innovating. You're just copy and pasting. You're just following the crowd, and probably you're not going to be around in the next few years. You're just here to suck up liquidity, and as well as random projects launching tokens. If you're not decentralizing, you don't really need a token. So it is a cash grab, really. So I'm really passionate about this, that there is so many protocols out there that are just not doing anything, and they will be disappeared in a few years, and we need a purge. Like, I definitely think there is a reckoning coming for these projects, because at the end of the day, how much, once the incentives and the money from investors and VCs goes, you have no innovation. There's no way to keep you there. So yeah, that's where I would like to start. And I'd love to hear your opinion about it.
I do agree with you that we are overly forked. So there's a lot of forks happening on any of the successful projects. So if you get a project that is going well somewhere, a lot of people are just gonna jump and start running right ahead to see who can be the first one to fork that on another protocol or on another blockchain, or even in the same blockchain, just trying to spin off something out of it. And I do agree with you. We are very saturated with that. Sometimes these forks do work, so I don't want to say that every fork is bad or doesn't work, but we do have a few examples of forks that are either from the same core team or from people who were part of core team of the beginning protocol. For example, after Velodrome, we had Aerodrome on base, if I'm not mistaken, other similar projects. So we can see there are some good forks out there, but again, if we have to overgeneralize, I agree with you. There are too many forks that don't bring anything new to DeFi as a whole. The lack of innovation, I believe, it is sort of like something that will die out because, as you said, if you're not bringing anything new to the table, you don't stand a chance in the longer time frame. So we're talking like 5 years over, or everything over 5 years, you don't stand a chance compared to other protocols. But I do believe that they are necessary to keep us afloat in DeFi, especially during these periods where there's either liquidity coming in or going out of DeFi. When there's like a straight bull run, um, of course, these things pop up like crazy. Everyone wants to fork the new project. Everyone wants to fork the new DEX. Everyone wants to fork the new. Um, Back in my days, it was a node project or a rebase token, whatever it was. So yeah, overall, I do agree with you with the sentiment, but I don't think we're going to be able to eradicate, as you said. I don't think we're going to be able to remove all of that. At least that's my honest opinion. Unfortunately, I would love to not have a squeaky clean DeFi base of very unique projects, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you in that part, that we do need to have, it would be an idealistic utopia, we would have that. But in the real world that we have TradeFi, like, I will tell people this in advance, I'm all for blockchain and DeFi and Web3. I love it, but I think majority of it is a scam, because if we really want the adoption that everyone keeps saying, oh, the next billion users, is we need that squeaky cleanness, because no one will come touching it. Your grandparents won't be going into DeFi or understand crypto until we have the high standards that we account to regulated authorities and people like that to ensure that our money is safe. Because if I accidentally send my crypto to a wallet that's not mine, well, that's goodbye forever, right? So that also comes with the whole squeaky cleanness of projects, is we really need to maintain ourselves to a higher standard than we are now, personally.
Agreed, agreed. But before we get that 1 billion new users adoption that you said, that could also brings us to the next topic as well a little bit. Um, I don't think this is the bottleneck for the overall retail and the globalization of DeFi. I honestly believe that there are two huge bottlenecks for crypto and for DeFi more specifically right now. One are wallets. Wallets are huge. I right now I don't hate using wallets because it becomes your daily routine. Everyone uses wallets now. They know how to do it. Everyone in DeFi knows how to use a wallet, how to add a contract address here and there, these sorts of things, migrate from one chain to the other. But wallets are huge bottlenecks. And another thing is the simplicity or the lack of simplicity, to be more specific, when it comes to DeFi products. Of course, there are a few exceptions. Also, for wallets, there are very new wallets or very promising wallets right now that are trying to solve this. But until my grandma is not able to just send this money, send her crypto from her to my grandpa in a very simple way, I don't think we'll see the 1 billion new users joining in just because of that lack of simplicity and that lack of user interface and user experience that brings it more um, closer to the traditional standard that we have right now.
Oh, absolutely. Funny enough, I was in an event yesterday hosted by Base and a few account abstraction wallet providers, and the exact same conversation we were having is we need to make that easy usability, like let's say social logins and your Google Drives. And I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but there's a project called Intermax where you basically log in using your face. So let's say I forget my phone, lose my phone, I can borrow someone else's phone, and because it uses zero knowledge proofs and like lots of special kind of encryption, that basically I can just log into that wallet straight away and I have access to it. And then once I log off, no one else can use it because it uses my Face ID. And as well as, I don't know if many people have heard of this, it's called chain abstraction, where basically you will be able to do all your like let's say DeFi sending crypto within to any chain. Let's say you have 1,000 USDC on let's say Arbitrum, and then you want to use that same DeFi um, protocol on another chain, you can just seamlessly doing it without all the bridging and everything in one same context, which is what we really need. Because let's say I've been that stupid person where I try to have the same name on every single chain, but I accidentally don't have the same name on another chain, and I actually sent my crypto to someone completely different. So there is so many overarching problems that most people that are coming into crypto won't understand, being like, why am I sending money to this person which I thought it was me, but it's not. So yeah, it is that difficulty. And I guess why I really like Archimedes, and I heard of you guys, I think like a year ago before we even kind of met, is you are, let's say, in my opinion, abstracting away that difficulty in DeFi, which is so important, because some people don't want to just hold money, they want to earn it passively, and you give that easy abstracted value to the wider community.
100%. We're of course we're still in a very early stages, but the final goal is to have like just one front end first of all, so people don't have to move from here to there, go to certain places. One front end that will connect most of the biggest sources of liquidity, yield, um, and liquidity providing, whatever you want to do. Right now, we're just yield and liquidity and leverage. We're going to launch leverage soon, but we want to have just one UI, so people can get there and in a simple way they can find what they want to do. For example, for our PSPs, which are the product that we have right now in beta, you can find pools from Balancer, from Curve.
I think we
I don't
lost
know
you.
if you guys can still hear me.
Yeah,
Hello,
we did. Hello, we can hear you now.
can
I
you hear me?
think you. Yeah. Oh, hello. You're muted right now. Are you still there?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Perfect. Well, while you're sorting that out, I can give everyone my opinions on why I think that. Oh, now I've lost myself. I'm now having taken. I think it could be the problems of the space. Oh, there we go. I can hear myself. So where were we talking about? We were on about making DeFi yields more safe. I don't know if anyone in in the group here right now has had the problem of finding the best prices in places, because I'm a pure degen. I will go to 5 different websites to see where I can get the best price for stuff. And that is a faff. And most people don't realize over a long period of time, you can lose thousands of tens of thousands of dollars and wasted gas fees and stuff based on like your trading volumes and stuff. So I genuinely think we need to move to approach like the aggregators that we see, but even they are not optimized to the point where we can be safely assured we're getting the best prices, because often these aggregators take performance fees and down the line you still aren't getting the best options. For example, right now, in the bridging space, I am a massive fan. I have a list of each types of bridge and what they do. um like you go on Jumper, you're saying I'm bridging 10 ETH from linear to scroll, you're getting, let's say, a 9.5, for example. But if you use, let's say, router protocol, which is a completely different type of mechanism of bridging, you will get near exactly 10 ETH back. So all this fragmentation that we're having is a problem in DeFi. It ruins people's experiences, and as well as you are losing money. That's why I think, as well as I really like the approach of having that one unified, easy UI that hopefully Archimedes will show in the future. But it is really exciting space right now. Are you back?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I had to switch from the Archimedes to this one because
No worries.
fell.
So you may continue where you were.
Yeah, let's see if I can recall. Oh yeah, so Archimedes now is trying to be the one stop shop. For example, for the PSPs that we have, you can find their strategies from Balancer, from Aura, from Curve, from Convex. So you don't necessarily need to go to these places. Which again, if you are a DeFi expert, you don't need us, right? You can just go to these places by yourself. But if you're just a beginner, a retailer, um, someone who's new, someone who doesn't want to have to go through the hassle of switching chains, going here and there, whatever, you can just do that in one place. So this is what we're trying to do. That we're trying to simplify DeFi. Eventually, we will have way more stuff. It's in our roadmap to eventually have real world assets, which are a huge narrative right now. So yeah, that's our purpose. We want to simplify, not only for new users but also for everyone. Because again, at the end of the day, why would you want to, even if you know how to do things in DeFi, why would you want to keep something that is hard instead of using something that is more simple, right?
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. It is the convoluted mess of approving transactions, then setting spend limits. It completely out of people's heads. Like for me, like I also don't want to be paying $3.50 just to send or do a transaction. For me, for real DeFi, and for me to actually think it's worth it as like a normal individual, is I can buy stocks, trade certain commodities and pairs in my bank for nearly free, virtually free. And if I do that in DeFi, I'm spending $20, $30 in fees. And that just does not make sense to me. So we need to make the experience and the whole idea of Web3 to be as close to, let's say, traditional finance, but have the back end to be the blockchain. Because no one, like I am I am try to be a skeptical and like the 10th man in every kind of situation, because I've spent hundreds and maybe thousands in gas fees, and it makes me angry. I don't care if it is, oh, that's the cost of decentralization. No, it's not the cost of decentralization. At the end of the day, I know we are in discovery and stuff like that, but people are still profiteering on top of our on our user base, because we're all here because we all at the end of the day want to make money and think we're going to hit that gold jackpot, but it needs to be accessible.
100%, 100%. I agree with you. Especially for someone who started in DeFi in late 2018. Gas fees were a problem, a huge problem, because of the amount of money, the amount of capital that I put in first, and that just grew up and grew up and grew up to a point where people were saying they were paying over $200 for a transaction on ETH, which is ridiculous. So until now, until a while ago, I, I never touched Ethereum mainnet. Never. Like, I stayed as far away as ETH mainnet as I could, mainly because for me, as a small user with a smaller capital at the time, it didn't make sense for me to pay $50 on something to then that would also hurt my P&L, that will hurt my profits that I would try to get in form of yield, staking, whatever it was. So yeah, uh, still speaking about the making things simple for the user at the end of the day. um I'm not a Solana fan, not a hater, but in the beginning when I heard about the Solana phone, I was hopeful. And God, man, that hurt to see so bad the Solana phone being so ridiculously bad as a product. Um, I've not tested it. I've just seen reviews. Have friends that did pay that amount of money to buy it. I don't know why. And they say, well, it's just an Android with just a few. There's a vault on it for you to store um, your crypto, not necessarily in the US, just in a separate vault. And the DApp is just, it sucks. It is very, it is a random thing. So that one kind of hurt as someone who was a little bit skeptical but hopeful that that could be the beginning of something. I was like, well, maybe the Solana guys are gonna do something right, right? And then it ended up not reaching the expectation. And now the phone is like $600 that you had to pay like 3K early access, and then 1,200, I think it was, in US dollars. And now it is for $600 that you can buy that. So huge fiasco. But again, we will see more of these things until something clicks and a technology or a feature that is able to simplify the lives for everyone um, gets launched or gets created. But it was a funny thing for me indeed.
Now that's cool. Like I'm just a skeptic. Like for me, if it doesn't need to be on the blockchain, then don't do it because it's just a money grab. And I don't know. From my, I guess I've been in the space for a while. When I talk to some people, only been in the space, yeah, like I've been there for 4 years. I've been up through ups and downs. I've read thousands of white papers, and like, do we really need the technology? That should be the number one priority of any project building. And for you guys, yes, because I've done my research about you guys, and like there is definitely need for DeFi ecosystem where what you can utilize your Bitcoin for, and like your plans for the future. I am really excited for example, and that is something that is missing. There is a black hole for Bitcoin DeFi, but when people are talking about Bitcoin layer twos, I don't think that is something that should be focused on. Bitcoin is a commodity, in my opinion. It has value because we attribute value to it. And I want to increase my value and my profits from utilizing, let's say, your future leverage and HODL plus. Like, that's personal opinion.
Yeah, so just a quick summary of what Huddle Plus is for users that are listening for the first time, people who just hopped in, see a few new faces here. So, Huddle Plus is just the name that we're giving for our V2 of leverage. Um, in the whole ecosystem, we are yet to find a good place for you to get yield on Bitcoin. So let's say you do have Bitcoin, whatever wrapped version. We don't necessarily take sides on wrapped versions of Bitcoin. Of course, there are those that have more liquidity, like wrapped BTC. But whatever other token that you have that is a wrapped version of Bitcoin, and you want to find yield for that, right now it is very hard because again, you are either going to be looking at competitors that offer very little yield, either CFI or DeFi. So you're looking at 1-2% on Bitcoin. On Binance, for example, you get 0.5% APR, which is nuts for you to decide that this is where you're going to put your Bitcoin in. I don't remember what Ledger offers, but Ledger does have inside the little app that they have how much what's the APR that they offer, but it's still very low. So when you go for huge TVL pools or huge TVL places to get yield on Bitcoin, you're looking at a very minimal APR. But when you're looking for a little bit higher APR, let's say you find somewhere that has a higher APR or APY um, over 5%, you're getting so much risk that you have to think to yourself, does it make sense for me to get my Bitcoin and put it there? Most of the time, the answer is no, because you're getting so much risk that it doesn't make sense.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
So Oz, our CEO, which comes from TradFi as well, he notices that this is something that is missing. A Lido for Bitcoin, that not necessarily like Lido offers just a smaller yield. We want to offer something better for everyone. So the whole HODL plus, you can be a holler or you can be the plus size. So the HODL part is for you to get your Bitcoin, take it away from just holding it and put it to get yield. What are we going to do with that Bitcoin? Well, we're going to get the Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin itself is going to power the leverage engine that we have. In the V1, that one was with OUSD, a stablecoin. We we quickly found out that having a leverage based on stablecoins is not necessarily ideal. Both sides are going to have a similar risk, so it doesn't make sense for one side and the other side um, to have both being based on a stablecoin leverage. So with Bitcoin, Bitcoin is going to be powering the leverage for the plus on the HODL plus. If you're a plus, you're going to be a leverage taker. So you're going to be borrowing this Bitcoin, swapping it that to Ethereum, whatever other token that we have on these strategies that we have, and you're going to be leveraging that strategy. So let's say there's ETH plus pool on Curve. It's on Convex, excuse me, and it is offering, let's say, uh, the last time I saw was 18%, and you can get up to 10x leverage with the HODL plus leverage. So you can get up to 180% leverage, 180% APY with Bitcoin leverage, pretty much. So of course, we need to make clear that there are risks when you're getting that much leverage, but we know that in DeFi there are both sides. There are the degens that do want to take risk because they're chasing the high returns, and there's people like me, for example. I'm more of a safe investor, so I would love to provide liquidity in Bitcoin. So this is what we're working with for the whole concept of HODL Plus, which will be released soon. We're working on getting audited by Halborn, so that's just something that is very very close to being released.
That's super exciting. Like I have to say, like I I feel that I've seen in the last few months in the innovation side is way more in the previous than in the previous bull market. Like we don't have those hype chasers. Most of those hype chasers, like people realize crypto is actually a serious thing last cycle, and most of those FOMO people and people that wanted to just be part of it have been burned so much that they're not coming back. Like I'm not seeing as many scams or like projects that are not let's say, legitimate in my eyes. And I definitely think having that, for me, you have the first mover advantage. You have a reputation behind you. You've been in the space for a long time. And for me, that is one of the most important things. The reason why everyone trusts Chainlink, because they're the OG Oracle. Everyone trusts them. So once you have your reputation, that is one of the single most valuable things in crypto. Like, I could foresee once the whole Bitcoin cycle comes in, we will have a massive interest in those hodlers and people that want to be a bit of a DJ. Like, it is it is the first mover advantage, and it's something that everyone desires. Everyone wants to make more money at the end of the day, and if you can provide something that no one else provides, it is, you've got it. You have your niche, and I'm really excited to see, as well as in the future, you move on to other chains. For me, like you said earlier, touching Ethereum now is getting even more expensive, and not everyone has that kind of money. So once you do that, I would 100% be using my Bitcoin into these kind of situations. Because right now, I don't want to touch my Bitcoin because it's just too slow and the yields aren't worth it. Like, probably to send my Bitcoin to a place where I can get some yield is going to cost me pretty much more than the yield I'll get in a few months or a few years. So it's not worth it. And I'm really excited to see that I am finally going to be able to be a more riskier individual within that space.
Awesome. Yeah, when I joined, one of the questions that I posed to the team was why why build on top of ETH, right? Why build on mainnet when you can build on Arbitrum? At the time, Arbitrum had a huge influx of people. Optimism. I'm a Optimism maxi. I've been an Optimism maxi for a while now because this is one of the first L2s that I tried and had a lot of uh, partners and protocols being built there that I know people personally. So I told them, why not go to an L2 first? And the answer was actually quite shocking for me. And now I understand. Of course, right after the launch, we're going to already start to move towards migrating and also being on other chains on L2s. But the main answer that I got was for LTs, it does make sense to be on L2s because LTs usually are trying to get leverage to get more yield, to get more funds out of a smaller position. So they need to take care with fees. But for the LP side, most of the people that we're trying to tackle are institutions, treasuries, um, whales, and most of these guys have funds on mainnet. Most of the whales are just stationary on mainnet because of, there's whales that haven't moved capital since like 2014, 2016, um, and they don't plan on doing so to go to an L2. So this is why the early stages of Archimedes is being built on mainnet, but with, of course, the intention um, to go as fast as we can to the best L2 or maybe multiple L2s. That's something we need to discuss internally so far. But bringing it back a little bit to your point of not seeing many scams, I am sure that once we start to having more media articles about more traditional media articles about Bitcoin, um, crypto in general, and the greed's gonna go back to over 80. We're gonna see for sure, um, scams popping back up again. The 3% daily sort of nodes, fake nodes, the rebase tokens that have a Lambo calculator built in, these sorts of things. Because again, if you go to YouTube right now and you log out of your account and just refresh and scroll, for sure you will see some huge YouTubers saying top 5 altcoins to buy in 2024, which means that we're kind of getting towards that mainstream media again. And when that happens, it's like the shit storm. Shit hits the fan and everyone starts seeing Lambos everywhere. And I don't. It's like ants, man. You cannot take ants everywhere you go. You're gonna find an ant. Same thing for scammers. Everywhere you go, you're gonna find someone who's ill-intentioned, and this is also something that we'll need to work on a lot in DeFi and in crypto as a general, to make sure we are retail ready or mass adoption ready, to avoid my mom or my grandma falling for one of these scams. Because if I'm 100% sure, if everyone over 50 is in DeFi right now, and they're new to DeFi, they're new to crypto, their probability of getting scammed is very, very high, for many reasons, not just because of the age, but just because of technology adoption, which is something very, very new for us for crypto. So yeah, is your take different on the scammers thing, or is that the same that I have?
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. And I do think the scams we are seeing is going to be significantly more sophisticated, because I don't know if people, the big problem right now, okay, this is some advice. I think every single person that has MetaMask, you need to download, I think it's Wallet Guard, the snaps that basically predicts every single transaction that you do, because you can sign a transaction without actually confirming anything and all your money's gone. So basically, the wallet guard snaps. I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's wallet guard snaps. But it basically simulates everything, pre-simulates every single transaction you do. So let's say you are about to approve something, it will simulate that transaction to you being like, this contract allows approval to everything in your wallet. So there's these things that you will need to have, because the scams now are getting so much more sophisticated, and romance scams, or people unaware. Like now we're having the signatures, and let's say, I don't know if you people who use Matcha, there's something called Matcha Auto, where basically it's gasless transactions, where basically you sign something and certain tokens have this built in, and people will basically start taking your funds without you giving necessarily any authorization. So yeah, definitely up your security game, because now we're seeing big players that are OGs getting scammed because they're just signing transactions that they'd even realize.
The biggest scam recently was the Ledger scam, the pop up on top of the 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 login page, I think it was, which was scary to think about. Ledger itself got hacked or got compromised, and so no one's safe. And my personal advice, like you just gave an advice, if you have MetaMask, my personal advice is do not use MetaMask. We're in 2024. It's time for you to find a new wallet. I think this is my biggest take on wallets. You can go Rabby, you can go Block Wallet, whatever it is. There's plenty of wallets. Of course, each one is more dedicated to maybe L2s, maybe other yield opportunities, but there are plenty. Just check it out. Uh, of course, most of these are going to be Infura based, so you're still going to be reliant on Infura, which is you're looping all the way back to MetaMask, but it is way better than to have the MetaMask experience. I think is getting old. Right? Everyone should be already sick and tired of the MetaMask experience. And there are other wallets as well. If you're an airdrop hunter, I'm not, but Rabby, for example, is just announcing that he will they will have points for people that use their wallet. So if that's something that is important to you or interesting to you, make sure you're changing wallets or just migrating your wallet to another host.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I have to say that it is MetaMask is one of the worst wallets out there for sure. And I will be honest, the reason I still use it for some things is because, yeah, I am part of the airdrop hunting community, and obviously, it is still hopeful that that will happen. But my favorite wallets are the ones that you mentioned. I also like Rainbow Wallet, and I like Tahoe for the people who do from Alchemy, that it is really user friendly, and it does have some simulations in it, and it's all community built, which is, you don't have that, let's say, stiff rigidness of like how you have MetaMask. It's all just clunky. Like I really recommend exploring every single wallet that's out there, or maybe not every single one, and find what suits you. Because I think at the end of the day, usability is so much easier there on that side. And obviously, we're going to have account abstraction, which is a whole another talk we can do on. But like the whole social logins, that's the actual stuff that will get the Web2 natives in, that you can log in with your Google Drives and passkey and stuff like that. But I think that's a whole separate talk to do that on.
Yeah, I agreed. Thank you. I didn't know the last one that you mentioned. I have to check it out. I'm always trying to find the best experience, especially for when I'm trying to bring in new people to DeFi. I'm trying to teach, my family members, my cousins, my uncles. So it's always good to have some other places for them to look into. So talking about the new, or not necessarily new, but the most talked about narratives for 2024. One of the biggest ones that people have a misconcept about is RWA. I'm a huge fan of RWA, but people believe that RWA is a very new thing, but no, it's just the new nomenclature that it was giving, because back in 2018, 2019, 2020, it was just called tokenized whatever. So we had tokenized metals, which I was huge part of in the beginning. Um, we had tokenized at one point. You were seeing tokenized everything, so there was like a way for you to get collateral on. You could tokenize your Rolex. I don't remember which protocol was that, but you could tokenize your Rolex and get a credit on top of that. So it got ridiculous in the early 2020, I think it was. So they just changed the name, but it's the same thing. Real world assets, just a way of tokenizing an asset in real life, and make sure you can trade that ownership in crypto, or getting a loan on that in crypto. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan personally, but regarding that, my personal opinion is that we're still far away from it, from having that becoming a huge source of TVL in DeFi. We see there's adoption for the projects they're doing well, but overall, I believe we still need like 4 or 5 years for that to become something as big as stable coins, for example, these sorts of things. But I am very bullish on it. Um, I even saw what was it, like real estate, tokenized real estate, that people could buy shares of a certain building and get yield on it, which was amazing, amazing. It always shocks me how what people can do with a little bit of creativity regarding tokenization of assets.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, but I feel like people are getting over carried away right now. There is so many projects been like, let's buy this house together, rent it out, fractionally share it. I get the idea, but what happens when a majority want to sell because um, some drama happens? I do necessarily agree with it, but I think we don't have the infrastructure for it to be a viable option. At the same time, I want to buy real world assets, gas, oil, and stuff, but like I'm on my friend's PayPal was cancelled out of the blue, and then let's say some other trading apps were cancelled out of the blue. I just hate the experience of, let's say, trading. I forgot, like 212 trading, all these free shares and projects that just doesn't make sense. And especially different types of brokerage apps have different types of contracts that you don't necessarily own the asset that you buy. So I want to know that, let's say that company goes collapse, I still own that assets. To be honest, I forgot what the terminology is, but let's say on Revolut, if they go collapsed, you're not actually owning your Bitcoin, your trades or brokerage they use, because they use a third party intermediary. So essentially, I would more trust buying real world assets on chain than in these companies, basically.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, even though everyone is got used to it, but if you start pointing out errors and pointing out difficulties that you have in TradFi, everyone can agree TradFi sucks. Especially, for example, if you're not American and you're trying to trade American stocks, TradFi sucks. This is the main point everywhere. If you well, for example, I cannot use Robinhood because Robinhood, uh, as I think they're trying to make it global, but so far you need a social security number, which is a huge stop for everyone else that is not American. So TradFi in general thinks that they they are not scared of DeFi because they think they have we have billions in volume, we have trillions in volume. Um, the derivatives market of traditional finance is like quadrillion, people say. So we don't need to fear DeFi. We don't need to fear crypto. But I say that they need to fear crypto and they need to fear DeFi for these reasons. The usability across countries for TradFi is ridiculously bad, especially if you're, for example, like me, you live in a country, you have to do your taxes regarding outside income, all these sorts of things. Man, is a pain in the ass. So I believe um, DeFi. I'm kind of going a little bit away from what you were talking about, but I believe DeFi will win these people once it gets everything fixed for and going. So sorry, I kind of went a little bit overboard on what you were talking about. So sorry about that.
No worries at all. Like I just think how different people can interpret the same thing completely differently, which is really interesting to see other people's opinions because I didn't know that about Robin Hood and stuff. And it is, yeah, it's weird. I guess everyone there we have this competition in the whole space, but going back to what narratives we think is, I think is going to be objectively different for everyone. I think every sector is going to have its own pump. Everything's going to lead the way. But recently, we did an interview with a founder that's created their own game. And at the end of the day, I'm a hardcore gamer. I am a PC gamer. I love gaming. And right now, everything is essentially a copy of paste of Clash of Clans, useless, rubbish games. They don't really need to be on the blockchain. They're all basically monkey this, monkey that, no innovation at all. And until we see those real AAA games that have been building for years, then using the back end as blockchain, let's say we have the CS:GO trading stuff, that is or could be used. But at the end of the day, I don't think gaming really needs to be on the blockchain because Epic Game doesn't suddenly want to lose millions of dollars in revenue because people want rev share. No, they're not going to do that. They're only going to do that once critical mass reaches. Once we have the real usage of blockchain gaming, then yes, we can potentially have that. But I do think gamers will be and esports will be a massive driver, I think, for crypto adoption. 100%.
That is a good point. That is a good point. On our last AMA, we covered a little bit about gamify as well. I said gamify. They're becoming adopters without even knowing, and I think that is a way stronger narrative of trying to have the best Candy Crush on chain or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
And another narrative that is always very strong, because again, if people exist, this will exist. It goes back in time to the ancient people, is gambling. So gambling will be always a strong narrative, in my opinion. No hands, no, it doesn't even come close. Because again, governments are going to try to shut down many of projects, and people are just going to move on chain to have free will on what they spend, on what they gamble on. So gambling, gamblify, not necessarily my thing. I don't gamble. I don't think it is a correct practice, but every gambling is global. You can go to China and see people gambling. You can go to Brazil, you can see people gambling. It is global. People have been gambling since the beginning of time. So that is a narrative that will be strong forever. And people who invested early into Gamblify has they have already seen huge ROIs to projects that didn't even become super popular. But just because there's a lot of volume and trading volume from people, these people get real. I don't remember what project it was. You could get real yield out of the fees collected from users, and users will always win, always lose. The house always collects fees, so they would whoever was providing liquidity was making like tons of money, tons of money. So that's a huge narrative, not necessarily my favorite, but it will be a narrative that will stay forever.
Yeah, but I think I need to correct us. Everyone who's in crypto is doing calculated gambling. That's my personal opinion. Everyone in crypto is a gambler because there is no such thing as being in crypto. We're all a bit crazy, to be honest. And I do understand from like NPC non-crypto native is what the hell are these idiots doing? Because at the end of the day, we are some crazy pioneers doing some stuff that's never been done before, and most people have no idea. So we are gambling with the future, I guess.
I agree. I agree. But I believe there's a little bit of a difference between a someone betting because trust me, bro, and someone investing in huge quote marks here because they did their due diligence. So, but I do still would agree with you that it could be categorized as gambling at the end of the day. Even investing in the stock market could be investing gambling in if we are kind of trying to emphasize the whole not being aware of what the future holds. But yeah, I agree with you. Any more narratives? We're running closer to the end of the.
I think you already said it, like real world narratives, gaming, gambling. And I definitely think something that will definitely win is projects that simplify crypto and DeFi itself. Whatever gives, like, let's say for example, Monzo is the most successful British bank right now because it takes, let's say, 12 clicks to create an account. If you want to create a bank account with a traditional bank, like let's say Santander, it takes 47 clicks. Every click you do is more effort you do. But you may laugh, but it is a true scientific fact. Like something that makes your life easier and not necessarily cheating, but convenience, that is going to win. Something that I have to scroll within 30 different liquidity pools because I want to see which is the best yield. No, you're going to have an application that finds you the best yield. Then that's going to be the one I'm going to use. Because at the end of the day, time is money. Time is the very essence of humanity that we value most. And I get really angry that I have to go to 7 different bridges to find me the best options, really. So, for example, whatever saves me time will win.
Got it. Got it. I was laughing because of the number you said. Was that a hyperbole or is it really 47 clicks for Santander?
I think it is 47 to 46 clicks.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. So there we go.
Ah, well, this was a huge fun AMA. Thank you for taking this hour to spend it with us, to hear us mumbling. Thank you for our guests, for the people who also join. We'll keep this recorded. It'll also be posted on YouTube. Which also brings me to a narrative that we still have not touched. There's a few protocols that are trying to, but on-chain video hosting is something that I would like to see more, mainly because as a content creator myself, being able to monetize my content on chain would be amazing. Again, we're nowhere close to this, but as someone who started on YouTube, I believe this would be crazy good for me to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you now. That is definitely something that needs to be fixed because there's so many projects doing that, but not really anyone's achieving.
Yeah, I'm not particularly bullish on any of these.
Absolutely. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you talking to me. It was an honor meeting you. I hope we can do a little bit more of these. We
Yeah, I'm
we,
more than
we, we
happy
had a
to
lot
do
of fun chatting. At least I did. I learned a lot from you, so thank you very much. Do you have anything to shout out before we end?
that. I just want to say I'll pop into the Discord, and if anyone's interested in joining like my Telegram group where we just discuss alpha and stuff, there's lots of different like founders, projects that are in there, and yeah, I'll pop the link that in the Discord if that's okay.
Of
Like
course.
I have a YouTube channel, so we usually post our videos on there. But if you can't be bothered to watch a whole YouTube video, we put, let's say, the best interesting parts on our TikTok. It's all Weaving Web3. So yeah, I'll pop in the Discords and be active there soon.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone who's listening. Who's listened. I'll see you guys next week for another AMA. It will be with the guys from Cedro Finance, our partners. So yes, have a good day, everyone. Take care.
See ya. Bye.